So back pain workshop, 45 minutes long. We're aiming to release any tension in your back, feel the support for your back so that when you do experience back pain, you've got some tools to help you learn to trust your back and to feel easy on movements. So what you're going to need for tonight is just your mat with a bit of head support and maybe a larger pillow or cushion nearby. We're going to use that for side lying. All right, so when you're ready, you're going to bring yourselves down into lying. And just lying with your head comfortably on your support, your arms down by your side with your hands on your rib cage and your feet just wherever they're placed where you feel comfortable through your back. You can have your legs out straight, but it's a bit more comfortable to have your knees bent and just let the weight of your legs fall in through your pelvis and your pelvis just rock into a comfortable position. So one of the first things, or one of the first tools you can use when your back is hurting or aching is to get back in touch with your breath. And we're going to do some breathing into your rib cage first. So just feel your ribs as they mould around your top part of your waist and just let your hands just comfortably sit on your lower rib cage. And then I'd like you to close your lips together and take a breath in through your nose. And when you breathe in, I want you to let you feel that your ribs expand underneath your hands. So we breathe in, expanding the ribs, and let the breath come out through your mouth in a little bit of a sigh. And when you get to the very end of that breath out, just close your lips together and wait for the breath to come in through your nose again. So we're breathing in and expanding the ribs into your hands, opening your mouth and letting the breath come out with a little bit of a sigh. And when you get to the very end of that breath out, just close your lips together and take another breath in through your nose and keep going. So what I'd like you to do is just to be in your own body and go as slowly as you can, particularly with the breath out. And when the breath out is finished, just wait for the breath in to come in through your nose. So we go, breath in, expanding the ribs, long breath out with a bit of a sigh through your mouth, and then wait. Close your lips. So by getting in touch with your breath in this way, we're mobilising the rib cage and just starting to let go of tension in your body. And if you are experiencing any back pain, getting in touch with the breath is one of the simplest ways to just start that journey on letting the healing happen and letting yourself feel better. So now you're going to slide your hands down and rest your hands on your stomach. And instead of breathing into your rib cage this time, we're going to breathe into your belly. Now obviously the lungs aren't in your stomach, but what I want you to feel is because we're moving the diaphragm down, is that now it feels like your stomach is expanding with air. Now we're going to do the same thing. So you're going to breathe in through your nose and let your belly expand up into your hands and breathe out through your mouth with a little bit of a blow this time. So this time it's like you're flickering a candle. So we get a bit of a, again, right to the very end of the breath out. And when you get there, close your lips and breathe in through your nose again, expanding your belly as you breathe in. The candle's there ready, and we're just going to give it a little bit of a flicker, don't blow it out. All the way on that breath out. And again, so closing your lips together, take a breath in. And expand into your belly and breathing out. Then releasing down. Do a couple more. And again, now we're getting the diaphragm moving down. We're just starting to be aware of that release. And often when you fix your diaphragm and you hold your breath, or when you're in pain, that can cause more issues and more tension and more stiffness in your back. So by getting in touch with the breath through the ribs and then getting in touch with the breath through your belly, we've made those first steps towards releasing any pain. Now allow your breath to return to just a normal pattern for you. And I want you now to make a fist with each hand, letting your thumbs stick out. And rolling yourself to one side, place one fist in your lower back, just where those little dents are in your lower back, where your sacroiliac joints are, one on one side and one on the other. Now, they're not going to be there for a long time, but just let your back sit on your fists and relax your elbows down by your side. And in that position, I want you to take some very gentle pelvic tilts, letting the weight go into your waistband and letting the weight go into your tailbone. And we're just going to breathe easy while you do that. And just noticing that when you tilt your pelvis forwards and backwards, it has an effect through your upper back as it presses and lifts off the mat. And it has effect on the position of your head as the chin moves up and down. Try not to pull and push. Try to make it a nice, easy movement. Now bring yourself into the middle. I'd like you then just to let your legs gently roll from side to side. At the moment, it's not a hip roll. All we're doing is just moving the legs in the hip joints and letting the pressure of your back go into your fists to gain some release through your lower back. Now we can't be in this position for too long because your fingers start to feel a bit crampy. So what you're going to do now is tilt your pelvis backwards and spread your fingertips out along the mat so that now your back is resting on spread out fingers on the backs of your hands. And we're going to repeat those two movements again. So taking a little pelvic tilt from your waist to your tail, which will go from your thumbs to your fingertips. Try not to pull and push. It can be a tiny movement, it can be a bit bigger, but just noticing the effect that has on the position of your upper back, on the position of your neck and your head. And then in that midway position, just rock your legs side to side again. Just letting the weight go on the inside of one foot, the outside of the other, just these small releases. And then bringing your legs back to the middle now, I'd like you to slide your hands out to the side, and the back already starting to feel a little bit more released. We're going to repeat those movements one more time. So from your waistband to your tailbone, nice and easy. And if you are suffering from back pain, particularly stiffness and pain in the morning, you can do these in your bed before you get out of bed, and you can repeat that sequence as many times as you need to before you roll over onto your side, get up and start your day. Okay, so let's just do those little side to side tilts again. Just letting the weight go to the inside of one foot and the outside of the other. And hopefully now with the breath and those little tiny movements and the little bit of a mini massage through your lower back with your hands, we're starting to feel a little bit more released. So now going to a very simple movement of lifting one foot off the floor. We're going to do a knee fold. So you know the score. You're going to take a breath in, and as you breathe out, peeling one foot off the floor from the heel to the toes, take a single knee fold with one leg. You're going to pause to hold the leg suspended in the air and take a breath in. And as you breathe out, you're going to lower the foot back down again. And then we're going to change legs. So we're going to take a breath in. And as you breathe out, engaging through that center, you're going to lift the leg up. You're going to pause with the leg suspended in the air. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, lower the foot back down again. Now, the attention's in the detail. We didn't think we were going to get away with just doing that. I want you now to do those knee folds as slowly as you can and try to feel that you use your breath for support. And notice that everything else in your body is going to stay totally still while you use the breath. And we're going to bring the leg up right at the end of the breath out. And we're going to go back to flickering that candle with the breath. So as slowly as you can, let's breathe in. Into your ribs and into your belly. Breathing out, draw your abdominals up from your pelvic floor, and at the very end of that breath out, almost when all the breath out's gone, lift the foot away from the floor, leg into knee folds. Pause and take another breath in. And as you breathe out again, engage that center, keep breathing out as if you're flickering the candle, and bring that leg down, feeling that tension drawing up in your center to provide support for your back. So I'm going to go really slowly now without the cueing and just use the breath. keep going. And notice how quiet that was, and notice how I only brought the leg up right at the end of the breath out, like preparing your torso to take the weight of your leg. And in going as slow as that, we're letting go of tension, where we're providing the support for your spine with the breath, rather than you just pulling your stomach muscles in ad hoc. And if you notice, the breath out is lasting to the count of 5, to the count of 6, to the count of 7, maybe even to the count of 8. So try that now one more time on each leg, and go as slowly as you can. It really is your friend when your back is feeling stiff and painful. With the breath, with the center, with the flow of ease of movement as you bring the leg up, and everything staying in exactly the same imprint on the mat. Breathing in and out to lower back down again. Just finish off this last one, going as slowly as you can. Now we've got the breath, we've got the support, we've got an awareness of some movement with ease. Let's try and distract your body now by doing something that involves some coordination as we take opposite arm and leg away, leg in a leg slide, arm overhead. So now we're going to take a breath in again, and as you breathe out, peeling one foot off the floor, I want you to straighten that leg as it hovers just above the floor, and take your opposite arm overhead. Breathe in and bring your arm all the way back to your start position. So now we're going to keep an awareness of that center supporting you on the breath in and on the breath out. On the way there, away from your start position, keep that center working gently, and on the way back. So now we've got the coordination of the breath out as we take opposite arm and leg away, but again, your head, ribs, pelvis, spine staying still. But more importantly, staying still and supported. So the imprint of the parts of your body that are on the mat are exactly the same on the way out from your start position and on the way back from your start position. And then change the patterning. Keep it fresh by changing to same arm, same leg, and everything else staying nice and steady. And again, we're just gently flickering that candle on the breath out as you move away, and keeping an awareness of breathing in through your nose, breathing out through your mouth. The arm and leg reaching their end point at the same time and coming back at the same time. So we're starting to introduce that ease into your movements. And one more time on each side. And breathing in to bring it back. So the focus is on the support, on the release of tension, on the flow of movement, and on keeping the back released and supported as you move. Now we're going to change that patterning one more time. And I know it's an easy exercise, but I want it to make it about concentrating on support and flow, moving opposite. Taking both arms overhead and one leg now, breathing in, let's bring those arms and the foot back. And one more time, both arms overhead and one leg, breathing out, and we're feeling easy and supported in the back, and breathing in, and let's bring the arms and the leg all the way back. Now I want you to slide your arms out to the side with your palms facing up now, and have your feet a comfortable distance from the back of your hips. Now going back to the little rock side to side that we did before, let's move into your hip roll. So let's start by breathing into your ribs like we did right at the start. And as you breathe out, you're going to tip the legs over to one side. The weight goes on the inside of one foot and the outside of the other. The pelvic bowl now starts to roll to the side as your lower back lifts off the mat, and roll your head in the opposite direction to your legs. I want you to just hold that position for a moment and take a breath in. And as you breathe out, try not to come back by pulling into your center. Try to lift from your pelvic floor and take that gentle scoop with the breath out as the legs and head comes back. And then do the same to the other side. So again, just slow-mo, making it about the legs tipping, the pelvis rolling, the head moving in the opposite direction as we start to introduce that spiral shape through your spine, and pausing and taking a breath in to your ribs again. And breathing out as we deeply engage through the abdominal wall without pulling in tight, and slowly feel the lower back, the pelvic bowl, and the legs come back. Now as you go over again, let's see if you can take one leg over first, so the weight goes on the outside of that one foot. Let the other leg then follow, still rolling your head in the opposite direction, and see if the legs can go further towards the floor. Don't strain or push. Pause and breathe in. And as you breathe out, I want you to bring the top leg back first. And as that leg tips over to the other side and the legs open out into a V, start to roll your head through center. Bring the other leg over. And we've got the legs over to one side and the head in the opposite direction. So all we're doing is separating the leg movement now in the hip. So bringing the top leg back first, the weight is on that foot. As the legs open out into a V shape, start to roll your head, breathe with it, and let the legs roll right over to that side now. And again, let's start to move the top leg first. And as that forms that V shape and it drags the pelvis and the other leg with it, let the head roll in the opposite direction. And let's pause and breathe in. And as you breathe out, let's just come back to start. Top leg, pelvic bowl, lower leg and head. And when you've done that, I want you to slide your legs, slide your arms in. And if you need to move your cushion for your spine curls, just take it out from underneath your head. Now we did these little tilts before with your fist underneath your lower back and then with flat hands. So now without support through your hands, we're just going to take those pelvic tilts again. So I'd like you to take a breath out and let your waistband just gently press into the mat, lifting your tailbone up. But I want you to get as far as you can into your pelvic tilt without your bottom muscles squeezing and joining in. So it's all in your center here and all in just that weight transference into your waist. You're going to hold it and breathe in. And as you breathe out, I want you to think of your pelvic bowl rolling back into the ball and socket joints of your hips as that weight comes on your tailbone and the pubic bone gets sent away. And let's see now if you can create a little bit of an arch between your lower back and the mat. And from there now, take another breath in and breathe out. Think of your pelvis like a bowl full of sand, and we're shifting all the sand into your waist, shifting all the sand towards your belly button, letting the tailbone lift, but not letting your bottom muscles squeeze or engage in any way. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, all that sand now is going to level off in the bowl, and then we're tipping it towards the bottom end so the back gently arches. Now make it a longer, even slower process now. So breathe in, go as slowly as you can, and you'll feel that lower back widen and relax. We're not pulling anything, we're just tipping the pelvis and curling the tailbone up, losing the curve of the lower back and breathing in. And make it a really long journey on the way back. Let's see how far you can go. Just slowly bringing that weight back onto the tailbone and keep going and keep going until the back gently arches. Now let's take a breath in again and breathe out, and I want that very long journey into the waist. A bit more, a bit more, a bit more. Keep going until your waistband feels like now it's pressing quite hard into the mat. And instead of squeezing your bottom muscles now, I want you to press into those spread out toes and feet and lift your bottom away from the mat, not too far. Pause and take a breath in. And as you breathe out, let that spine come down with ease. So slowly bring your upper back down, tipping into the waist now. Let's slowly roll the weight all the way back onto your tailbone. Now last one. We're going to do with the arms. So I want you to raise your arms above your shoulders and slowly take your arms overhead, increasing that gap between your back and the mat. breath. The breath is everything. Breathing in. Now that long journey, don't leave it out now. So starting to tilt up. Think of the pelvic bowl. Think of the sand shifting. And at that point of lift, press into your spread out feet and let's sweep those arms forward until they're down by your side on the mat. Feel how stable and supported you are in that lifted position. But we're not doing it by tensing into your arms or by squeezing your bottom muscles. We're perfectly balanced and we could shift any which way. Breathe in. Now let's breathe out and just bring your spine all the way back down onto the mat. And when you've come all the way down, I'd like you now to bring your legs up, holding the front of your shins or the back of your thighs. Just fold your knees in towards your chest. Now keeping hold of one leg, let's stretch one leg out along the floor. Really nice. If you have a stiff, painful back, this is a really nice stretch to do. You don't have to take the leg out fully straight, of course. You can keep it at a slight bend so you can tilt the pelvis even more. And just ease this knee in towards your shoulder, stretching the other leg out. I'm not holding any tension in your back, just let the curve of the back flatten a little bit as the knee comes in towards your chest. And if you've got a little bit longer time, you could do this stretch for a little bit longer. So we'll change legs now, bringing this foot down, folding the other leg in, and stretch the other leg out along the floor. And again, just ease it in. Let the curve of the lower back just flatten in this position. Ease it in, ease it in, ease it in. And then let's bring that foot back down onto the mat and rolling your legs side to side. We're feeling really released through the back in this position. So shift your feet to one side so that now, shifting your bottom over, you can roll over onto your side. And if you've got your big pillow nearby or your big cushion, put that underneath your head. And I'd like you to bring your knees and your hips up as if you were sitting on a chair with your feet on the floor. Now in this position, what we do is we generally tend to sling into our waist. What I don't want you to do is to pull the pelvis away from you. What I'd like you to do is to try and lengthen your spine from this point here at the rib. So think of that equivalent area in your back and just let that breastbone lift a little bit and take a breath in and then breathe out and drop it back down. And the same again. So this area here, let it come forward and lift as the spine just gently extends, breathing in and breathe out, and just let it find a midway position. Okay, so you can bring your top arm down in front of you here, or you can just put your top arm on your hip if you want to. And we're just going to take some very simple leg lifts. So using the breath out and that gentle scoop that we did lying on your back, I want you to lift one leg away as you breathe out, and if you can, we're going to straighten that leg out in line with your hip. The feeling is that you're pushing that big toe towards the wall at the other end. And then we're going to bend the knee and bring the leg back, knee and foot touching. So we'll breathe in, breathe out, engage the center, lift the leg and stretch the leg out, just reaching it away towards the other end of the room. Breathe in and breathing out, keeping this center engaged, keeping everything supported. Bring the leg back. Now if your back is feeling quite stiff and painful, what you could do is just lift the leg up on its own like that. But if you can, let's see if you can lift the leg up and extend it out, because what I want is this length through the hip as you extend the leg out, and you'll feel your waist just lifting a little bit. So again, just letting the leg lead the spine and bring the leg back in again. We're just going to do that one more time. And I keep the repetitions low when you're working through these movements. So somewhere between 5 and 6, don't do loads of them. The idea is we're just using these movements to create release and support and make your back feel better by the end of it. Okay, so let's bring that leg down now and bring your top arm and bring it forward on top of the lower arm. So now a little bit of rotation through your spine. You're going to open this top arm up and look towards your index finger and slowly let that arm travel behind you, keeping your knees together and the lower knee on the floor. So don't go all the way back. I only want you to go as far back as you can go, keeping your index finger in your eye line and keeping your knees together and the lower knee on the floor. So we'll breathe in to open and we'll breathe out to close. Okay, now really nice to start introducing that lovely little gentle rotation in your spine with your arm openings. And what you could do if you want to as well is to put a cushion between your knees while you're doing this, if that's more comfortable for you. But think about this arm moving away from the lower arm. So we're thinking about the extension of one arm through the collarbones into the other arm. So we're keeping that shape and pressing the lower arm down into the floor as you reach the top arm away. So again, you're not just opening and closing the arm without thinking about it. What you're trying to do is think about the arm moving into the shoulder there. Then think about that nice release through the upper back and the roll of the neck following it. Only taking the arm as far back where you can still see that index finger. And let's breathe out and bring the arm back. I'm going to do that one more time. So breathing in, let's take the arm up and back. Keep the knees together and the lower knee on the floor. Breathe out and slowly bring the arm back. Lovely. Now from there, bring your knees up a little bit higher and push yourself up, using your hands to help you into sitting. And before we do the other side, I want you to sit with your feet comfortably on the floor and just repeat those little pelvic tilts that we did in lying, dropping back, growing tall. You can do it with your hands behind your thighs like I'm doing here, or you could do it with your hands on the floor. And if you've got your hands on the floor, it's quite nice just to push up into your hands as you extend the back. Dropping down, coming up. Just breathing easy, dropping down, coming up. And then just let the legs do that little hip roll side to side again, letting the weight go from the inside of one foot to the outside of the other. Again, you can do this with your hands behind your thighs if you want to, but again, just using the legs to create a little bit of a stretch on the back without pulling, just an ease of movement. And then we'll get ready to do those leg lifts on the other side. Okay. So let's bring your cushion to the other side now and lie yourself down on this side. Use your arms to help you come down into lying. And we have the hips and knees bent up to 90. And what we did is we just stretched away through this part of your back. So think of the corresponding area into the middle part of your back. And we just took a breath in and just lifted this area forward. Breathe out, close it down. And that's just to stop you rounding into the middle part of the back. Breathing in. And breathing out. And one more time, breathing in. Just extend gently and then just allow your back just to find a comfortable position. Okay, I'm going to put my hand here. You can put your hand down on the mat if you want to. So we're going to breathe out and lift this leg up. And see that if you can extend the leg out, pushing the big toe towards the other end of the room and lengthen through that hip. Taking the pelvis with you a little bit so we get a gentle lift of this waistband away from the mat. And then breathe in, bend the knee and replace the foot. And it's a smooth movement up and away. Stretch and breathe in and bend and replace. And again, so we're using that little bit of support from here, a bit of a as if you're flickering the candle and trying to fit the movement into the breath, and the back feels supported, but also it's quite nice to get that little stretch away as the leg goes out, bend and bring it back. We're just going to do that one more time. So breathing out and we lift and straighten, lengthening the leg out towards the other end of the room. And breathing in to bend and replace. So now bringing the top hand just in front of the fingers of the lower hand, let's go into those arm openings. So we took a breath in, opening the top arm, look towards your index finger and only let the arm go as far back, keeping that in your eye line, feeling that you're stretching away from this hand on the floor. And breathe out and slowly roll yourself back. The weight just on the side of your cheek there. So again, we're breathing in and we're just getting that gentle rotation through that lengthened spine. Keep your knees together and your lower knee on the floor so you're not shifting from your hips, and breathing out and bring it back. And let's see if you can try and breathe into your ribs, especially into that top part of the ribs, and expanding and stretching through the waist and breathing out and roll it back again. And again, breathing in. And it's easy. And it's released. And breathe out and bring it back. Let's just do that one more time. So we're breathing in. So open up, think that you're reaching away from that lower arm. Let the body just gently rotate with ease, keeping your knees together and the lower knee on the floor. And breathe out and bring yourself back. So now we're going to roll over onto your front. And if you find lying on your front is a little bit troublesome for your back, then put a cushion underneath your lower tummy. So you could get your cushion and put it underneath your lower tummy just to give yourself a little bit of extra support. When you lie on your front, we're going to lie with your arms in your position to do your diamond press. Now, if this doesn't suit you, you could have your hands out wider. All we're going to do is just start to introduce that gentle extension through the upper back. So, with your head resting on your hands, I'm just going to lift my head so that you can hear me. You're going to move your shoulders up and down. So move them up, move them down, move them together, move them apart. Move your shoulder blades around your back. And we're going to engage the muscles low down in your shoulder blades to support the back as it comes up into this extended position. So you're going to take a breath in. As you breathe out, you're going to slide your shoulders away from your ears and lift your chest and your head. Pause and take a breath in. And as you breathe out, slowly lower your breastbone and your forehead back again. Now I want you to imagine you've got that balloon underneath your breastbone. And as your shoulders glide down, that balloon is being pumped up with air. But what I'm not doing is pushing up through my arms. In fact, I'm very light through my arms in this position. But my legs are quite active in that my kneecaps are just gently lifted away from the floor. So feel your back is supported. Work with your breath. Breathing out to lower back down again. So like all the exercises we've done, we go in slow motion, sliding the shoulders down, breathing out, breathing out, breathing out, breathing out, breathing out. Pause and breathe into your ribs because it's hard to breathe into your belly in this position. And breathe out to lower back down again. Now if your back feels okay, it's quite nice to do that basic diamond press with a single leg lift, starting to stretch out through the front of that hip and get the connections between the legs and the spine. Breathing in still to hold it and breathing out to lower back down again. And just change legs with each one. So a gentle diamond press with a single leg lift, breathing out and breathing in to hold it, feeling supported and strong and breathing out to lower back down again. And change sides again, breathing out, diamond press with a single leg lift and breathing in to hold it, breathing out to lower back down again. One more time, easy diamond press with a single leg lift. And always holding your start and end positions, feeling that your back is supported, but you're not holding tension. All we've got is that lovely support. Lower yourself down again. And when you're ready now, placing your hands underneath your shoulders, bring yourself up into 4-point kneeling. And when you're in your 4-point kneeling position, I want the weight through your hands, through the knees, and through the top of your feet. Now you're just going to let the weight go from one hand to the other, from one knee to the other, and back to your hands, just round in a little bit of a circle. Let that happen, going one way and then the other. And settle the weight now evenly between your hands and your knees. And level your spine off so the lower back is fairly flat, lifting your abdominals to the ceiling. Your shoulder blades are wide and open with the elbows at a slight bend. And try to practice holding this position with support rather than tension. So if you find you're locking the elbows out and are tensing up, try to let it go. Let your corset support you around the middle and let those arms and legs be supportive without tensing up. Now thinking of the little pelvic tilts that we did lying on your back, bring that into this position where your spine is unsupported. So breathing out, what I don't want you to do is to pull your tail in and squeeze your bottom muscles. Think how far we travelled with that pelvic tilt before. And as you breathe out, the feeling is that your tailbone is gently tipping down and forwards, pubic bone lifting, and the spine rounds over, lifting your abdominals to the ceiling. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, let's slowly see if you can level that lower back to where you began. Now see if you can do that movement without letting your upper back join in just yet. So don't round your upper back just yet. Just let it happen through your hips and your tailbone, just like we did right at the beginning of the session when you had your hands underneath your lower back and we went from that tilted back position, no tension in your bottom muscles, to that slightly arched position. So make it a slow movement, but make it a long journey from your pelvic tilts to the level position to the gentle arch in your back. And then this is a good way of thinking about it. Slowly invite the rest of your spine to join in to create a round back. Breathing in to hold it, and then breathing out, let's level the spine back off again. And again, let the rest of the spine gradually join in to match that curve. And you can go into your arch position if you're comfortable with it. But again, long journey through the pelvis. I'm not pulling with my hips. I'm not squeezing with my bottom muscles. Still the same. If you imagine you've got that book sliding off your lower back and the other one sliding off your shoulder blades in your head. And we'll breathe in. Breathing out, let the spine return back to your start position. Now we're going to do that one more time, but I want you to initiate the movement from a different part of your back. Let's try it from the area between your shoulder blades. So I want that area to push up towards the ceiling first, and then slowly tuck the tail in and the head in. Don't push yourself into that position. Ease into it, like we did right at the beginning. Breathe in. And come back from that point. So imagine my hand is between your shoulder blades and I'm pushing down gently. Sliding one hand up towards your neck, sliding one hand down towards your tailbone. Now from there, I want you to bring your feet together and your knees a little bit wider and sit back on your heels with your arms outstretched in front of you for a moment. If this position doesn't suit you, I'd like you to roll up on your side instead. Now lying in this position with your arms outstretched is quite nice to start stretching through the upper back and the shoulders. But the rest position is best for getting the spine rounded and released. So now see if you can get your forehead down onto the mat or put a cushion there and bring your arms down by your side so you can cradle your heels with your hands. And then we've got this feeling of pushing your hands into your heels and easing your head in towards your knees and holding that position. And when you're in any position of stretch, I want you to stay still for a moment. Breathing easy. We can really breathe into the back of the ribs in this position, and you can spend as long a time in this position as you want. And then shifting, let the weight shift from one knee to the other, from one sit bone to the other, rolling your head, rolling your shoulders, and release. Now we're going to breathe in, and as you breathe out, scoop into your abdominals and slowly roll your spine up into an upright position in kneeling. Now, one of the hardest things when your back is uncomfortable and stiff is getting up into standing, and you might need to use a chair to help you up now. But let's see if you can come up from your 4-point kneeling position. So weight through your hands again, weight through your toes, but tuck your toes under. Bring your hands towards your knees and see if you can push through your hands and come back onto your feet. And then see if you can push down through your feet and bring yourself up into standing. Now, when you're in your standing position, I'd like you to stand with your feet a comfortable distance apart. And just notice your posture. And one of the nicest exercises I like in standing for your back is your standing cat. So you'll need to bend your knees because we can't get that pelvic tilt that we've been working on throughout all the positions when your knees are straight. It just doesn't happen. So send your knees forward and start the pelvic tilt, letting the spine round and letting the spine extend. We did this in lying, we did this in sitting, we did a little bit of this in side lying as well. And then waking everything up and energizing the spine. Let's add the arm movement onto that. So let's bring your arms out in line with your shoulders. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, I want you to tuck your tail in. Think of that long pelvic tilt. Don't push in from your bottom muscles. Bring your fingertips together and look down towards the floor. And then breathe in and open out those arms, looking up towards the ceiling as you take your arms behind you and comfortably stick your bottom out so that you arch through the lower back. And again, breathing out, let's round the spine over and bring the fingertips together. And breathing in, and let's open out the arms and take them behind you. And again, breathing out, tailbone down and forward, look down towards the floor as those fingertips come together. And breathing in, and let's open those arms out, look up towards the ceiling, lift the breastbone, send the tailbone behind you. Think of what you did in 4-point kneeling. And again, breathing out. Round over fingertips together. And breathing in, let's open out the arms and gently arch the back. Now, one more time, and I want you to finish in that forward position, tucking the tail in, fingertips together. And then let your arms just draw down by your side and slowly straighten the knees, letting the spine find its natural curve. Now, keeping that natural curve through your spine now, I want you to bring the weight forward on your feet and raise both heels. And then let one heel drop down towards the floor as the other knee bends, stretching out through the underside of the foot. Push down through the toes on the bent leg to raise both heels and swap over. One heel down, one heel up. And I want you to go very slowly from one side to the other. Try and resist that urge to drop, lift, drop, lift, drop. Keep that center engaged, draw up into your corset and wobble a little bit. But never tensing in the back, feeling supported and strong and letting those feet just spread out a little bit. Let's raise both heels up again. And balance on your toes, feeling so supported in your back. And the support comes not because you're pulling in, the support comes that you could sway a little bit, that you're able to let the back do that. Now bring the heels down and just let your head and arms come in front of your body line. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, you're going to slowly bring your head up, lift Lift your shoulders towards the ceiling, take them behind you and drop them down. Lovely. I hope you all feel okay and you enjoyed that session. And I look forward to doing the next workshop with you very soon.